Hello everybody. This is a video response to DemCAD's video response called What to Do in a Home Invasion, or What Would You Do? Do you have a plan? And it basically discusses, your plan is, how would you react? And the best part, there's an old saying that says an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. So knowing how you sleep and knowing that your weapon of choice for personal defense or home defense is within arm's reach is probably the best thing. I keep, you guys know Gladys here. This is Gladys the Glock. I have a TLR1 tactical light on the bottom of her. DemCAD mentioned, like, do I grab the gun? Do I grab my rifle, or do I grab my shotgun, or do I grab my handgun? And I think rifles are probably, especially like military grade rifles, are probably, unless that's all you have, I would say best not to go there. It's been a long-standing, I would say, tradition or opinion by a lot of people that a pump action or semi-automatic shotgun is probably your best bet, because the spread pattern and the pellets lose energy more rapidly than a handgun bullet or a rifle bullet. So that's probably your best bet for home defense. And I happen to agree. I don't personally own a shotgun at this time, but I got one in the works. It's okay. Relax. No, I'm just kidding. I love shotguns. I'm not so much of a rifle guy. I'm more of a shotgun guy, and I'm getting a new one very soon. And a long story, but at any rate, the shotgun I did have had a tactical light like this. I don't know if you can see that. It lights up. I don't know. Let there be light. It just lights up the whole room. So in the meantime, my personal thing is, I'm going to have my gun in one hand and my cell phone in the other, and I'm going to get the police on the horn while I have a flashlight. I'm going to be like, okay, somebody's in there, 911, talk to them. Hey, look, I just heard somebody kick in my door, that kind of thing. It's best to be prepared. And DemCAD, this goes out to you, man. You've got a Glock that's a similar configuration. I think it's a different caliber, but it's a similar configuration, and I always have this thing near me. It's always near my bed rest. It sits on my nightstand. When I go to sleep, it's right also within arm's reach. You got to plan for that. It's within arm's reach. They even make a bedside gun rack that it slips in between your mattresses, and it's got a little gun rack that goes on the bottom of your bed. So whatever, like if you have a shotgun or something like that, you can just grab it, and it's right there, right next to your bed. I think that's actually pretty slick. I had a tactical light attached to my shotgun. Same thing. If I'm going through the house, I can light up. And also mention is that it helps with your aiming. I don't know if you can see this here, but you see the center of the light, the very cone of light, that very bright spot in the center. Your bullets are going to land right in there, and it looks a little smaller to me than it does on camera. But my shots are going to aim right there. So it also can be used to improve your accuracy. Not to mention that handguns and shotguns are meant for short range. And the same thing holds true if you have a shotgun with a similar light. The spread pattern is going to land in that. So if you put that center beam of light on somebody's torso and just pull the trigger, you're going to hit them. It's just the way it is. I figured a long time ago, I don't need a laser. I don't need night sights. I don't need any of that stuff as long as I have that tactical light. And it's $100, roughly 100, between 100 and 150, depending on where you buy it. If you buy it at the gun store, like the gun store I go to had it for 175, and I'm like, that's too much. I can get it on Amazon for less. And I did buy this on Amazon. It's a TLR1 tactical light. It fits on shotguns. It fits on pistols. It's a real heavy duty light. And so that's basically it. Just know how you sleep. So like if you're sleeping, make sure that your nightstand is within arm's reach. Make sure that your pistol or your gun is in the appropriate position to be grabbed and held immediately in a fireable condition. Like make sure that the butt is in a position where you can just wrap your hand around it, so that way you're not fumbling around with it. You know what I mean? Because seconds count. When somebody breaks into your home and they're intent to do you harm, obviously seconds count. If you have a shotgun, same thing. I used to actually sleep with the shotgun in my bed, and I had it in such a way that it would sleep next to me, and I had it to where I could just turn over, grab it, and my hand was in perfect alignment with the pistol grip, and my other hand was also in perfect alignment with the pistol grip, and it was my first motion, the most natural motion was to aim it right at the door. So therefore, like I said, I planned ahead. I think about it, Think about what you're going to use. Again, pump action shotgun is a very good home defense weapon, but it requires the use of both hands. And let's face it, if somebody's there, you want to get the police there as soon as possible. So be on the phone with them. That's another thing. Gun in one hand, phone on the other. You know what I mean? So get the police there as soon as possible. You know, San Antonio Police Department's actually fairly good at responding to stuff like that. They'll get here within a minute or two. But then again, that's one of my biggest arguments against gun control and for private firearms ownership is that when seconds count, the police are only minutes away. It takes 30 seconds to a minute for an attacker to inflict violent damage upon you, but it takes 2 to 3 minutes, maybe 4 to 5 minutes, depending on what city you live in, for the police to respond. So what do you do in the meantime? You got to be prepared. Have yourself an adequate defense weapon. Also, I use hollow points, and they mushroom out, which they do more damage to the target when you hit it, but they also lose velocity and lose energy very quickly because of the size of the projectile as it's exiting your attacker or whatever like that, if it exits at all. That's also another thing. You can use other things like birdshot in your shotgun to help minimize penetration. And that's the thing. You gotta understand, responsible gun ownership means that you're responsible for any bullet or any projectile that happens to, if you miss and it goes and hits someone else's property, or God forbid someone else's person, if it hits the wrong person, you're accountable for that to the law, and I think rightfully so. So they make self-defense rounds. There's one called Glazers, and I don't know if they're around anymore, but it's basically a round that's pretty much made out of clay, like a really hard clay, and it shreds into powder as it impacts, and that just does a lot of damage. That just, imagine grains of sand being launched through you and into your skin at 1,200 feet a second. That's just ridiculous. So, and they also make hollow point, regular hollow point rounds, law enforcement grade hollow point rounds. That's why they make them. They have more stopping power because of the shape of the projectile as it enters, and because it loses energy quickly, and it will not go through. It minimizes the chances that it will go through and hit an innocent target. God forbid you should hit one of your neighbors or something like that, or your neighbor's dog, or anything like that, any kind of tragedy like that. But measure your surroundings as far as your sleeping surroundings. Another thing, I've seen guys, home invasions don't always happen at night. Sometimes they happen during the day. So what do you do when you're up and around your house during the day and you got a home invasion on your hands? Some guys, like at one point, I would walk around. When I was driving a cab, I had a concealed carry like fanny pack that I would keep my money, my ID, and I had a little space in there, and I kept a 6-shooter in there. And I used to wear that thing. As soon as I get up, I get dressed, put the little concealed carry fanny pack on, and I was armed. So as soon, so no matter where you in the house, you've got a gun on you. That's also an option. I've seen some guys that wear a holster, a straight up holster, and their gun strapped to their side. It's not even a concealed carry thing. They're not even trying to be discreet about it, which is okay. It's their right. But so you got to think about it. What happens if a home invasion happens at night? Measure your surroundings, measure your sleeping surroundings, decide what you're going to do ahead of time, because an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. Those bedside gun racks or something like that. I don't know how much they cost. So maybe they're like $30 or something like that. It's got a little piece that fits in your mattress, and then the gun rack kind of hangs down. And I'm gonna get one as soon as I get that shotgun. I'm probably gonna get a Mossberg 930 SPS, something like that, or maybe a Mossberg 590, something really reliable and battle proven, And yeah, and I'm gonna fit it with the TLR tactical light, so that once I have it in my hands, I've got flashlight and firepower immediately. Flashlight and firepower. Remember that. I've thought about this. You should too. If you're a first-time gun buyer, think. It's not just about firepower and who's got the biggest gun and who's the better shot. You got to think. You got to think tactically, man. If there's more than one person in your home, tell them, look, if we're laying here in bed, like say you and your spouse, if we're laying here in bed, I've got the gun, you got the cell phone. You know what I mean? Call the police immediately, and I'll get between you and the danger and hopefully defend you or whatever like that. Come up with a plan. Think about it. You know what I mean? Plan ahead. Prepare, for lack of a better term. Prepare for something like that, because home invasions happen. Especially to me, I live in the fucking hood, and you got to know that home invasions, have happened in this little hood. Even though it's kind of quiet now and stuff like that, there was times when the police were driving through here every day. You know what I mean? So, but at any rate, that's what I got to say. This is again this is a response to Demcad's "What to Do in a Home Invasion" or "What Would You Do in a Home Invasion," and that's pretty much it. God bless you guys. Stay alert, stay alive.